Hi there, just read this disclaimer please.
Alright folks, it's that time of week again. So we'll go through my performance first of all. My portfolio gained 2.39% and the Life Strategy 100 gained 2.68%. Kind of in line with last week. So when it seems like so far when things go up, the Life Strategy 100 seems to do better than me and better than its two stable mates with 20 and 40% bonds, and then vice versa. Let's move on now to the dividends, which you can see there. I mean, there's not really much point in me talking, is there? Because all the information is on the screen. But as you can see, £192.85 for the week. Got my Brunner, was the biggest of the month. You'll note there, it arrives in 3 different accounts. It's pretty spread out. My Brunner holdings are actually in the SIP, the LISA and the ISA for iWeb. And then obviously just these small amounts from the Fundsmith-ish portfolio and the SCHD Top 50 portfolio, and then NatWest on Friday as well. So let's move on to the announcements. Got them open here. First one was from Gore Street Energy Storage Fund. They've just updated their NAV, which is down a couple, 2.5%? Yeah, 2.5% down over the month, of which 2p of it was a dividend being paid. So as they say here, it's the NAV total return was minus 0.7%. They've still got net cash on the balance sheet, which is nice to see. These there's some progress updates here about the construction of sites that aren't producing income yet, and I mean I think that's why they've reorganised their dividends for this year to be 1p, 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 and then in Q4 it's going to be 4p. And obviously the reason for that is that they hope that these will be producing income by then, and so by the time they're paying the much higher dividend at the end, they should have at least a boost to the income, even if it doesn't cover the dividend fully. But obviously the cash can cover the dividend if it needs to. I mean, to be honest, I don't care. I factored in a 47% decrease, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, 47% decrease I've factored in my planning, so I'd be happy for them to just delay that dividend, or maybe pay 1p at the end, so it's 4p over the full year. I don't really mind, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I've accounted for 3.7p, so don't mind. So they've declared the next dividend, so I've put that information in there in my spreadsheet. No new information there really. They just gave the date essentially because they'd already kind of signalled 1p for this quarter. Yeah, so that's Gore Street Energy. Yeah, I mean the fact the NAV went down is not a surprise considering the discount is at 45%. The market isn't going to price in a discount unless we expect the NAV to be going down. So it's just kind of doing what the market expects it to be honest. And then the next announcement was a dividend declaration by Lowland of 1.6p, and as with the City of London one, it's not news really, it's just a continuation of its previous dividend. We can see here in the history there doesn't seem to be any set time in the year when they kind of level it up to the next stage. You know, it keeps its value, and then every now and again it'll increase and then keep to that new value. So I mean, for all we know, this one could be 1.6 as well, because if you look year on year, it would still be an increase. I think I calculated it at 2.4%, so if that was still 1.6, it'd still be a 2.4% increase. So we'll see what happens there. And the last announcement was from Harmony Energy Income Trust. They were just telling us that the two last projects, or the sites they've got batteries on, have been connected, so should be generating income shortly. Now, if we look at this previous announcement, had some information. Yeah, here we go. So these are the two that have just been connected. If we do a little sum, 66 plus 99.8 equals that, divided by 790.8. So it's approximately 20% of the portfolio now is those two new ones. So what's that, that's like a 25% increase, isn't it? Going from 80 to 100 is a 25% increase in the potential of this portfolio to generate income. So the share price didn't seem to care though. If we look here, I should have done this earlier, shouldn't I? But here's the here's the share price movements over the week. And Harmony Energy didn't like that announcement by the looks of it. Gone down. Gore Street was flat, so you could say, given my portfolio went up 2.4%, you could say Gore Street relatively went down by roughly how much the NAV went down, about 2.5%. So it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Relatively, even though it's kind of flat. What went well? Brunner did quite well, 3.36. Murray International did, and Henderson International both did well as well, relatively. Scottish Mortgage, but again, it's, you know, I remember them doing badly last week, so, you know, it's always just up and down, up and down, up and down. Anyway, there's the information. Let me put it on full screen for you, so if anyone really cares, they can pause the video and have a proper look at this spreadsheet in full. There we go. How do I close this? That cross does it, doesn't it? There we go. I had a little check-in on the LISA transfer. Here's what I saw. Okay, so it's the 11th of September, so 2 weeks and 1 day. And my AJ Bell account has all of the investments in there, but there's no cash. If I was to scroll up higher, it says no. It says zero cash. So it seems like we're just waiting for the cash. But now, if I go to Hargreaves Lansdown, you can see that the money market fund has now disappeared. So there's obviously stages to this. So obviously the money market fund is completed now because it's left Hargreaves Lansdown, but the cash is still here, obviously, and hasn't appeared. So there's obviously a period of time where they appear in both, and the cash, well, these investments here are in that period, and then the cash is obviously going to come later. I don't know why the cash always seems to come last on these things. I don't know. It's I suppose they have to take the charges from it, don't they? Their last 0.45% has to come from that cash, doesn't it? So I suppose it kind of makes sense. Anyway, there we go. There's a little update. And we're back. And this is just something I noticed today, really. Scottish Mortgage and SAIN, the two Bailey Gifford ones. They updated their holdings. So now we're on 31st of August instead of July. And as we can see here, Mercado Libre, that must have been doing well, because that was, I don't know, somewhere down here before. So that's jumped to the top. That's like I think it's a Latin America equivalent to Amazon. But anyway, yeah, SpaceX is third now. Kind of strange for a private company to be so high on the list, isn't it, really? But yes, I watch the rockets go up sometimes. Nvidia, I've got a feeling they've trimmed it. But yeah, Moderna's one that always worries me. I always see it going down and down and down. But it always seems to be right at the top of their list. So it makes me wonder whether they've been topping it up every time it goes lower and lower, the share price. But I'm happy to see that this time, even though the share price has gone down, so also has the percentage in the fund, because I'm sure that was about 6% in July 31st. So hopefully that means they've stopped putting money into a falling share price, and they'll just let that holding now just fail or flourish. And then I also noticed Scottish American have updated their top 10. And what I have noticed is that Watsco was at the top. I don't know what the company did, but I noticed it because I'd never really heard of the company. But Watsco was about 4% before. I checked the share price and nothing dramatic has happened to it. But it's no longer even in the top 10. So I'm guessing if we go to all equity holdings, I think it shows up lower down. Yeah, Watsco down to 14th. So it seems like, to me, they might have halved their stake in Watsco. So I wonder what that's all about. They don't tend to give monthly updates about, like in writing. Actually, do they? Let's check. Documents. Let's see if there's a fact sheet we can look at and see if they comment on things in it. Whoops. What did I do then? Must have just clicked the wrong place. It tells us what the trustees does. Do they actually talk about their actions over the month? That's what I'm trying to find. No, this is all just definitions, isn't it? Yeah, they don't really talk so much about what they've been doing. Okay, anyway, that's just something I noticed. Another thing I just wanted to mention that I've been pondering over the week. I was pondering a rebalance of Scottish Mortgage. Well, kind of a swap in which one was higher. I was thinking of adding £2,000 to Fundsmith, but I've only got cash in my iWeb ISA. So I'd have to do a transfer from iWeb to Trading 212 of that cash, which I'm not sure I can be bothered doing. But then another thing I was also looking at was doing a rebalance between impacts and my two healthcare. If we look here, I've got a summary of the two. I was thinking about equalising these positions because I think the healthcare ones have done well, and I have also added more money to it. See, I've put in there 14 grand and only 11 grand there. So in a way, it kind of deserves to be an equal holding since I put a lot more into the healthcare ones. But then I was thinking, well, let's just. I mean, one of the reasons I was thinking about the Scottish mortgages because here, the ones that aren't in tax shelters, I've got this small holding of Scottish mortgage. That's why 2 grand made sense to swap. But now I'm thinking maybe just put the two together and swap Scottish mortgage for IEM and just top up IEM so it's roughly, well, you know, it's gaining ground on the healthcare ones. It'll be up to about 11 grand. That's what I was thinking. And then also, that means then that when the ISA allowance for next year comes around, if IEM has done well, there's a possibility of using this 1,900 worth of it there that's outside of tax wrappers. I could then sell that one and buy stuff in funds in Trading 212 Fundsmith-ish account. If this gets back to, it wasn't so long ago we were at about 816 Scottish mortgage. So I think maybe if it got back to that level, I might just sell this 2,100 that's outside of the tax shelter and put it into either IEM or who knows, we'll see. These are just some of my ponderments that I have quite often. That's it. Alright guys, have a nice Sunday, I guess. Bye bye.